Good afternoon, I'm Trinity Chavez. It is Friday, November 17th, and you are watching NYSC TV Live. We are coming to you from the New York Stock Exchange, the epicenter of the global financial markets, and today we are celebrating one of the NYSC's tasty new additions. Day Day Cook, as the firm gets to ring the closing bell. Now, for those of you who may not know, Day Day Cook is one of the largest online cooking channels in China, and Norma Chu, who is a former actress and TV host, is driving the force behind the company as the founder and CEO. She decided to venture into the world of culinary and share her passion for cooking to a broader audience, and our very own Cassandra Sire had the opportunity to get a private cooking lesson from herself in our exclusive restaurant here at the NYSC, which we will show you a little bit later on in the show. But today is all about Day Day Cook. To celebrate the occasion, we also have Day Day Cook's branding all over this iconic building, from the cubes behind me above the trading floor to its banner streamed across the facade of the NYSC on the corner of Wall and Broad Streets in Lower Manhattan right there. Now, the company also has a food truck operating right outside this building. And in just a little while, the company's CEO, Norma Chu, will ring the closing bell, closing out the U.S. equity markets for the day. Now, while Day Day Cook will be ringing the closing bell, the action really began this morning just after the opening bell. When ticker symbol DDC officially began trading, Norma Chu rang the first trade bell on the floor exchange shortly thereafter. Now, Day Day Cook's path to the New York Stock Exchange American began in 2012 as cooking multimedia platform, publishing cooking videos and recipes. And here's what else you need to know. We're getting images right there of that first trade bell like I just talked about. Now, the company based out of Hong Kong says that its mission is to promote Asian cooking culture to the world. And in addition to utilizing its omni-channel sales network and online presence, Day Day Cook sells ready-to-heat, ready-to-cook, and plant-based food products. China has long storied history with the New York Stock Exchange. The exchange lists more than 500 countries outside of the U.S. and more from China than any other country. The more than 50 Chinese companies on the exchange boast a combined market cap of over $390 million. And as we mentioned, how this long storied history, the relationship dates back more than a century. Now, the New York Stock Exchange's Beijing office has been open for over 15 years, and it was the first foreign exchange to have received approval to open a representative office in China. Day Day Cook CEO Norma Chu flexed her cooking skills here at the New York Stock Exchange. She and ICE head of International Capital Markets Cassandra Sire whipped up some delicious recipes inside the kitchen of our 1792. Let's check it out.
The day is finally here.
Exactly, Norma.
Are you ready, Cassandra?
What are we cooking today?
Today we're making two Asian dishes.
Okay.
One of them is inspired by my home cooking, which is like a Cantonese tomato beef. But I change it into like a noodle soup recipe.
Okay.
And then we also have a Southeast Asian noodle dish, Thai stir-fried rice noodle, which is Pad Thi Mao.
Awesome.
Let's do some cooking together.
Okay.
So you're gonna help me with some prep work. You're gonna help me chop these guys up.
How fine do you want it to be?
I want it to be very small.
Very, very small.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Gotta watch my fingers.
So you were saying that it's been a while since you cooked.
Yeah, well, because, now I've been traveling a lot internationally. Cooking becomes less of a priority. But when I saw what you brought, it gives me confidence that I might be able to make this myself at home.
This whole thing's gonna come together in like 15-20 minutes time.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next thing we want to do is chop up these tomatoes like that.
This is, what is it, like kailan?
Yeah, that's right. This is Chinese broccoli. Okay, now we do the beef. We're gonna slice them up. Perfect, you're a pro. There you go.
I'm good at eating.
We're gonna put it in a bowl and then we marinate it. Today we're just gonna do a pre-made marinade sauce.
Okay.
So you're gonna let the beef sit for a while. Now we're gonna make the soup base. Stir-fried garlic, tomato, and then water. We are gonna cook some noodles now. We're gonna let you do this one.
What do you want me to do? Just stir fry?
You just want to stir fry it like very quickly.
or medium rare?
We're gonna do medium rare. Perfect, that looks wonderful.
Yum.
And we're done.
Perfect. Nice job,
Yeah.
Wow, that looked incredibly delicious. But again, to commemorate today, we will see Day Day's Cooks CEO Norma Chu, who you just saw right there, presented with an NYSE medallion, FTV gavel, alongside the listing certificate. We're going to see that in just a few moments when we toss it to the boardroom. Actually, let's listen in right now.
Congratulations, everyone. My name's Lynn Martin. I am the president of the New York Stock Exchange, and it's my honor to welcome you all here today to celebrate Day Day Cook's IPO. Now, when I think about your company, a couple things really sprang to mind. Number one, if I think about culture, we are home to 2,400 listed companies. We're a community of the best innovators, entrepreneurs, leaders in today's market. When I think what's core to that, though, is the concept of community. And I like to think of our 2,400 companies as our family. I can't think of anything that is more central to Asian culture than the concept of family. Celebrating family, celebrating conversation, celebrating milestones over a meal. So when I think about you all and your IPO today, it's really the intersection of family, food, and a lot of happiness, and how to share that with not just your home markets, but more importantly, now that you've raised the capital to change the world, Norma, the international markets, particularly given your focus on technology. So it's our honor to welcome you. We're so proud to have Day Day Cook as a member of our community effective today. And with that, I want to call Norma up to the stage to say a few words. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much. I think we're matching shoes
We
and
are.
outfit. It's fantastic.
We got black, white.
That's
pink.
perfect. Wow. Hi, everybody. Hi, how are we all doing? Good? All right. Well, it took me about 2.5 years to get here, so you guys are in for a very long speech. All right. So, thank you very, very much for being here. So Day Day Cook started 12 years ago in my 300 square foot apartment in Hong Kong, where I really enjoyed cooking a lot of different meals for my friends and family. It was in this little tiny space the name Day Day Cook was born. And there you have it. Also, the great big journey that completely changed the course of my life also started. So, which led us here today at the New York Stock Exchange 12 years later. How's that? How are we all doing? So, thank you so much for coming here to witness this special journey. It's a new beginning for Day Day Cook. A group of you really traveled afar and in very short notice to be here with me today, to give me support. And for that, I'm really, really grateful that you're here. This is going to be one of those moments that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. This journey has been long and it's been very fulfilling, but at the same time, definitely filled with challenges and obstacles. And without each and every one of you to be here, to give me support and all the hard work and dedication, there's no way we're going to be here today. So thank you so much for being here and always be by my side through the past 12 years. Thank you. So our mission at Day Day Cook, is to share the joy of Asian cooking culture with the world. Our philosophy is cook, care, and joy. But there are 3 ingredients in our culture as an organization that I actually want to share with you today. It is happiness, strength, and resilience. Happiness is really what gets us excited every day to get out of bed to work, and it is what is embedded in our mission to bring the best-in-class experience to our customer. Strength is what we stand for. It is instilled in a wide spectrum of Asian culture, and is what we are trying to promote and showcase to the world. Resilience is what brought us here today. If there's one word that I want to describe the team I have at Day Day Cook, it would be resilience. So more than a decade has passed, and judging by my energy level, I think this is really just the beginning. And I'm so excited for all the excitement and opportunities we have looking ahead into the future, 10 years, 100 years, for as long as I can contribute to this company. I'm really excited to show more Asian cooking culture to more people in this world. Thank you so much.
At the New York Stock Exchange. One of those marks your 12-year journey, marked on resilience. It is your original listing certificate, which I am proud to present you with as now a member of our family. Welcome. We're honored to have you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. This is amazing.
And then next, we have a bunch of gifts.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so the first gift is a mallet, which I understand you used well this morning.
I used it very well this morning.
To open your stock.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Beautiful.
And then last but certainly not least, we strike a medallion for every bell ringer and gavel hitter, for lack of a better description, every day. On the front of the medallion is our 6 pillars, which stand for a variety of things, but today they stand for community. And on the back is a buttonwood tree. We were founded under a buttonwood tree 231 years ago. It reminds us of our roots, our commitment to sustainability, and hopefully it reminds you of the next leg of your journey.
For sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And no one goes away empty-handed. Another tradition we have. You'll all receive a slightly smaller medallion on your way out over there as we head on down to the floor.
Now let's go ring some bells, huh?
Absolutely. I'm going to turn it back to our lovers. I know we have a bunch of folks watching via the web.
Now, we just heard from the NYSE president, Lynn Martin, along with Norma Chu, who again is Day Day Cook's CEO. We heard Lynn describing this day as a true representation of the intersection between family, food, and happiness. And this is what Day Day Cook is exemplifying to the world. We also heard from Norma Chu, who is the CEO, how she was talking about how this day has taken over 2.5 years, how this journey started 12 years ago in her 300 square foot apartment in Hong Kong, and how she said without the hard work, dedication, and perseverance of her team, she wouldn't be here today. Day Day Cook would not be here today joining the NYSE community of over 2,400 listed companies. But I really loved how she said that there are 3 ingredients in her culture: happiness, strength, and resilience. Happiness is what gets you excited to go to work every day, to achieve those goals. Strength is what she is trying to showcase to the world and what she is doing through her work. And resilience speaks to the hard work and dedication of her and her team to get to this pivotal moment of today. Day Day Cook is growing also in popularity, especially in several key demographics. As of June 30th of this year, Day Day Cook had 24.5 million paid customers. Around 69% of its followers on social media and video platforms are Gen Z. Half of the company's customers are from the eastern and southern parts of China, and 86% are female. Fun fact about Norma Chu also, she actually started her career in finance, working her way all the way up to the head of equity research at HSBC Private Bank. She sat down with our own Judy Shaw to explain why she left finance to start her own company. Let's take a listen.
I have 2 true passions in life when I was growing up. One is stock market, and the second one is cooking. When I was growing up in the US, I've always had this passion with cooking. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother and my parents at home, and so cooking has always been a very important part of my life. But when I moved back to Hong Kong, I realized a lot of my friends, they didn't like to cook. They thought cooking was too old school, was too troublesome, and I really wanted to change that. I started doing this side project when I was still in banking to create this platform to encourage other people to cook at home. And so that was the beginning of DDC.
When you were 11 years old, you and your family immigrated to the U.S. Tell me what that experience is like and what influence did it have on your career path?
I remember just kind of packing up, and then the next day we started living in a completely different city. It really sculpted the way I look at things, how I want to create my own path and like go for what I want in life. I used to work at restaurants since I was 15, 16 years old. I told my mom I don't want any more allowance. And then she's like, what are you going to do? Well, I told her I'm just going to go work at a Mexican restaurant in the neighborhood. And that's how it all started.
Talk to me about the importance of passion when it comes to starting a business.
I remember some investors asked me, are you a passion founder or are you a result-driven founder? I'm like, you have to choose. And I always classify myself as the passion founder because that's what drove me to start the company, to have this idea.
And you're also giving back in other ways. You're the founder of the Good Food Movement, which is a charitable organization dedicated to food sustainability. Why did you start this company?
There's so many things that, we need to care for in terms of food manufacturing. May it be, clean ingredients to sustainable packaging to, how we create the food that we eat every day. And so that's when I decided to create this platform. So every year I can get to know a lot of different innovation and meet new founders to kind of, educate myself so I can know how I can create different products and better products for the company and for the consumer going forward. So that's the whole idea for Good Food Movement.
All right, now we are on the trading floor as we get ready to close out the U.S. equity markets and have the executive team make their way to the trading floor where we're going to see them sign the Distinguished Guest Book, sign the wall behind the secret staircase after they close out the markets and they make their way down. It's just the staircase right underneath the Bell Podium. Actually, I think we're getting images right now of them heading to the Distinguished Guest Book right underneath the Bell Podium right now on the trading floor. This is an active trading floor. A lot of people, are getting a behind the scenes glimpse of actually what happens in this iconic 231-year-old institution. We are showing right now the book signing. Again, Norma is etching her name alongside the long list of celebrities, entrepreneurs, thought leaders who have etched their name in that very book, who have walked into these doors, who have been a part of IPO celebrations, SPAC combinations, acquisitions, whatever it might be. We're covering it here at the New York Stock Exchange. What sets us apart from any other exchange in the world is the fact that we have what's called a designated market maker. This is a specialized trader standing with your stock for the days, weeks, months, years ahead to really help navigate through market volatility and make sure that everything is being maintained in an orderly fashion. Now, again, this is one of the largest exchanges in the world with over $40 trillion in total market cap of over 2,400 listed companies. And again, you might see some traders zipping past us at any point in time. But I want to give you a little bit of a brief, as we're getting images right now, just right behind me, there's Lynn Martin again with Norma Chu. I'll step out of the way so you can get a better image of what's going on there. But I want to give you a little history of the New York Stock Exchange. Again, this is a 231-year-old institution. We have established a lot of traditions from the listing ceremony to the opening bell. And, this traces its roots back all the way to 1792, when a group of traders gathered beneath a buttonwood tree on Wall Street. They formulated an agreement known as the Buttonwood Agreement to create a centralized marketplace for buying and selling stocks and bonds. But little did they know that this humble beginning would lay the foundation for one of the world's largest stock exchanges. Now, fast forward 231 years, like I said, we have over 2,400 listed companies, and the NYSE has over $40 trillion in total market cap. And, this is truly an iconic moment. Now that Day Day Cook is officially a part of the NYSE family, you saw them ringing that first trade bell this morning. Norma has been around the exchange all day, and now she's getting ready to close out the U.S. equity markets, and over 100 million people could be watching from around the world. Whoever is on that bell podium, ringing the opening bell or ringing the closing bell, all eyes are on Day Day Cook. And look, we're getting a little preview right now of capturing the excitement that's about to go down here on the floor. We like to say that we interrupt CNBC's broadcast because their studio is just right here in front of the bell podium, but we're not going to tell them that, right? But again, these are the friends, families, and colleagues just right here. Let's get some pictures of the crowd that's formulating just right behind me, really taking advantage of all the in-house photography team members that we have here capturing this moment. There's Ali right now, actually, with our colleague Howie, who is alongside our other colleague, Laura Diorio, who is capturing all of the excitement here across all of our digital media platforms. And if you want to follow us, it's at NYSE. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of the things. We will have you covered every step of the way with all of the exciting coverage that goes here at the New York Stock Exchange. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at some of the exciting events that actually take place behind the iconic doors on the corner of Wall and Broad Streets. Let's take a look.
For 231 years at the NYSE, we've celebrated many traditions. One of those is welcoming companies who are seeking to raise capital to change the world.
Now, as the whole team is getting situated, I'll be speaking with Norma in just a few minutes. I am also going to speak with Kyle Goose. Oh, hello. You are in charge of legal for Day Day Cook. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, thank you.
I mean, it is such an iconic day. You know, you are now officially a part of the NYSE community of over 2,400 listed companies. Tell me, what's going through your head right now?
Well, it's a very exciting time, major milestone for any company, and particularly Day Day Cook. So it's a tremendous time. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for us.
Now, you joined the team earlier this year. What have been some of your most memorable moments, especially now that, you were here for the IPO?
Well, this has got to be the most memorable moment, right? Such a huge development for the company. This is an exciting time. We're really looking forward to what's to come.
Now, from a legal standpoint, obviously from where you sit, what would you say are your biggest major focuses as we close out the year and we look forward to 2024?
Yeah, the focus at this point is really on expansion, global expansion. We have a lot of opportunities we're looking at in North America and Europe, and some really exciting potential ways to expand the business. So that's what I'm focused on now.
And tell me about expanding the business, right? What specific growth opportunities do you see?
Well, we're looking for some authentic Asian cuisine brands that have strong financial performance and that'll really help us grow. So that's our focus.
Well, thank you so much. I know you have a bell to ring, so I will let you join your team. The bell waits for no one.
Yes, thank you.
Take care. Okay, now you saw Cassandra getting a preview and a cooking lesson of all that delicious food, but you got to wash it down somehow. Let's take a look at how to make some tantalizing drinks.
I think we're going to make a Bloody Mary today. So we're going to give it a little twist.
Okay.
We're going to add some bone broth into our recipe. Have you had bone broth in
Yes.
a cocktail before?
No.
All right, let's try it. We're going to add some tomato juice. We put it all in here.
But we have to leave room for vodka, right?
We do.
Good.
Perfect. We're going to add some horseradish in there.
All right, let's go. What is this?
Yes.
It's a fish sauce.
It's fish sauce.
Oh,
okay, so we're going to make it a little bit Asian twist.
Like how much?
That's good. Yeah, just a little bit. And tons of pepper. Okay.
That's good.
All right, we're going to add some celery salt.
Okay. We ready
We're
to
going to shake it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
There you go. Give it a good stir.
I am now joined with the fearless driving force behind Day Day Cook, Norma Chu. I mean, wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I mean, you've been with us all day. You're like a part of the fabric at this point.
You got to kick me out. I won't leave. I don't want to go.
No, we don't want you to go. I mean, it's been so exciting. You were here ringing the first trade bell. Now you're closing out the U.S. equity markets. I mean, tell me about what's been the most memorable part of today, for you.
Yeah. Well, I would say the most memorable part is actually not today, but the journey here.
Yeah.
So I've been, on this listing journey for about, 2 years' time. So which makes this moment that much more special.
I loved your story about how you were saying this started 12 years ago in your 300 square foot apartment in Hong Kong. Walk me through that moment when you figured out, I want to do something more with my passion.
Yeah.
I want to bring awareness to everybody around the world about Asian cuisine. What was that pivotal moment like?
I think it's really just relying on my own passion and really believing, there's purpose and value in what we're trying to create here, and really believing in I'm the best best person to do it. And so that's what's driving me to build this company.
And I also loved what you were saying, how you wouldn't be here if it wasn't without the commitment, the hard work, the perseverance and resilience of your team. The 3 ingredients, right? Yeah. It was happiness, resilience, and what was the last one?
Happiness, strength, and resilience.
So how did you come up with these ingredients?
Well, I think it's just kind of, a lot of times I think it's always start with me. I'm always a very happy person. I think also, through the whole past 10, 12 years as an entrepreneur, there's definitely a certain level of mental toughness and strength that comes with it. And finally, I think it's just resilience. I mean, this is, for me, still just the beginning. It's a very new chapter for Day Cook, and I'm here to do a lot more exciting and amazing things going forward.
And I have to say, those ingredients, they don't just speak to your team. They speak to a broader audience of investors, of entrepreneurs, and for and for your customers, exactly. But what advice would you have for any other entrepreneur, a female CEO, who is really trying to embark on their journey of starting their own company?
Oh, I think, it's definitely an amazing experience. You grow so much as an individual. I always say this, right? Do your best, forget the rest. Don't doubt yourself. Go for your dream and dream big.
Do your best and forget the rest. You hear that? You heard that here first. I love this. You're full of all sort of little good anecdotes.
That's right. Hope you remember that one.
Yes, you're going to remember it. Well, anyway, I will let you close out the U.S. equity markets. Congratulations again. And, you have a busy night ahead, too.
I do. I can use the cocktail right now. It's been a long day. It's been an exciting day, yeah.
Well, I saw your video. You made some amazing cocktails alongside your cuisine.
That's right. Maybe a Bloody Mary is in order tonight.
Well, enjoy your day, and I will catch up with you later.
All right. Thank you so much.
See you. All right. Now we're going to take it to another video. It's a message from our parent company, ICE. We'll be right back.
Connecting to opportunity is just part of the hustle.
Opportunity is using data to create a competitive advantage.
It's raising capital to help companies change the world.
It's making complicated financial concepts seem simple.
Opportunity is making the dream of home ownership a reality.
Writing new rules and redefining the game.
And driving the world forward to a greener energy future.
Opportunity is setting a goal
and charting a course to get there.
Sometimes the only thing standing between you and opportunity is someone who can make the connection.
At ICE, we connect people to opportunity.
10 minutes out from officially closing out the markets. As you can see, we have a big crowd behind us. They're being a little shy right now, but I know, yeah, that's it. That's just a warm-up, right, guys? You're going to be much louder when we ring that bell. Okay, again, we like to interrupt CNBC's broadcast. They're on air right now. We're right in front of their set, but we're about now actually 10 minutes on the dot out from closing out the markets. We're going to see Norma hold her finger down on that button for 15 seconds until it's officially closed out. So before we get there, we're going to toss it to an earlier interview that I did with JD from TheStreet.com on the overall market conditions. Let's take a look. JD, markets soared on Tuesday after the consumer price index after the October CPI report was released. What had investors so excited?
Trinity, I think the fact that softer inflation means, in the hopes and estimations of a lot of investors, the central bank will finally be able to pull its foot off the brake just a little bit here, right? I mean, that's the big expectation. We say, don't fight the Fed. When does the Fed pivot cut? As we start to see some of those key inflation numbers, both for consumers as well as on the wholesale side of things, I think that brings a little bit more overall positivity. Tuesday was such an amazing day for the markets because it's not just the big caps, the magnificent sevens that were in on the fun. We saw the Russell 2000 perform really well, Trinity. After all these indexes, the major averages we follow, how often do we get to say it's the Russell that led the way up about 5.4% on Tuesday? The challenge there, of course, is that because the S&P is a market capitalization weighted index, those smaller companies don't really move the needle as much. But as for those magnificent sevens, the Apples, the Teslas, the Nvidias of the world, their aggregate market cap grew more than $200 billion on Tuesday alone. So you had really the big names enjoying the party and a lot of those small caps getting in on the fun as well.
Now, I want to go into inflation a little bit more from where you sit, what you're seeing, what you're hearing. Do you think the Fed has ended its rate hike campaign?
I mean, insert obligatory CME Group FedWatch reference here, because that's what we always do. It's really the definitive go-to source. 99.7 chance that the Fed holds rates there steady for December. So I think investors are largely looking ahead to that. But it's not just investors, right? They're taking their cues from major economists. One of the more interesting storylines I think that I covered the last few days is the outlook for 2024 from UBS, from Morgan Stanley, from Goldman Sachs. They're not necessarily all on the same page about when, for instance, they see the American economy hitting a recession, but they all kind of agree at 2024 we will start to see those rate cuts hit. UBS has them guided much earlier in the year than Goldman Sachs sees it at Q4, but at the end of the day, if you're an investor right now or an economist, you're pretty confident that the Fed is done raising rates for right now, even if they may be a bit more hawkish with the way they talk about it.
And now, speaking of investors, a slew of retail giants have released their earnings report this week. What are the biggest takeaways for investors?
I think overall that a lot of these companies feel like they're pretty well positioned into the heart of the holiday shopping season. Target, Macy's, Walmart, 3 different stories, but really important ones to follow this week. We had Target perform on one day this week after earnings, up 17%. That's the biggest day that Target has had for that stock in about 4 years or so. Macy's feels like its inventory is in a good spot heading into the holiday season as well. Walmart, a bit of a different category, and this gets into the importance of narrative. What's the sentiment? Really, what's the vibe, right? I mean, let's be honest, a lot of this is vibes, and when Walmart comes out and starts to say, hey, the vibe is a little skeptical here, we're seeing a bit of a pullback in consumer spending over the course of the last 90 days. We're now talking about deflation, which is not something we've talked about a lot. That's great for the consumer, not as great if you're Walmart. And I think there's a reason that Walmart's so heavily weighted as it is as a key consumer staples name. When Walmart speaks, everyone else is going to listen and pay very close attention.
And speaking of moving markets, we avoided a government shutdown late last night when President Biden signed the stopgap bill. Obviously avoiding this shutdown. What would a shutdown have done to the economy? What do you think it would have done to the market?
Historically speaking, I think we've had about 20 government shutdowns or these funding gaps going back to 1976. And honestly, Trinity, I think Wall Street doesn't really pay attention until it really has to pay attention. If you look back at the last big shutdown, around the holiday season, end of 2018 into 2019, the government shutdown was like 34, 35 days. The S&P 500 still went up 10% in those few weeks. Now, obviously, one of the more impactful parts of a shutdown, 700, 800,000 federal government employees, they get furloughed, they don't have paychecks, yet history tells us it ends up being kind of a negligible impact in terms of GDP spending. So, at the end of the day, I'd argue these are the 2 most important institutions we have in this country, is Wall Street and Capitol Hill. The 2 of them don't really understand one another all that well. So I think for this thing, we were able to avoid it, but really we just kicked the can down the road. And I think you and I will be having the same conversation in January before we know it.
And speaking of January, obviously this is the last month of the year we're moving into. What should investors be looking out for?
Listen, I think, first of all, the retail numbers will continue to follow through the heart of the holiday shopping season. There's no doubt about that. But, we talked earlier about the Magnificent Seven. That, to me, is the market, right? As those few key names go in consolidation, so too go the market. Those top 7 names, 28, 29% or so over the overall S&P. I think as we turn the page into 2024, will there be another name that kind of gets added? Does the Magnificent Seven maybe become the Elite 8 with the addition of some name like Taiwan Semi or Eli Lilly or one of these other real outperformers through the year? But, ultimately, I think that consolidation will continue and will be something that, of course, we will continue to follow very closely as we get to the new year.
Okay, now we just got an overall market update from JD, but now I want to talk specifically about the IPO markets. And joining me to do that is Michael Harris. He is the global head of capital markets here at the NYSE. Good afternoon, Michael. What a great afternoon it is.
Yeah, it is a great afternoon. Thanks for having me. Great talking to you.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the IPO market. What have been the trends that we've seen this year, and what should we expect as we close out this year?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that we've seen. For one, it's been a better year than it was last year. So I'd say it's been kind of a slow opening or slow reopening of the IPO market. A couple things that we've seen have been safer companies that are more profitable that have been coming to the marketplace, larger companies, and also companies that have been in a different phase of their growth. So oftentimes companies that are a higher valuation that also oftentimes have a much larger global reach in terms of their operations of business. Going into 2024, we see a very healthy pipeline of companies that are actually looking at going to the public markets. I think the timing of that's going to be very much dependent on the geopolitical political backdrop, what's happening in the rate environment, and also just in terms of what the actual market environment looks like in terms of investors and investor appetite.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of moving parts, as you just mentioned, political, geopolitical situations happening. From where you sit, how does the NYSE navigate through this climate?
Yeah. Well, in many respects, it's similar to what we do every single day on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. We're just bringing together buyers and sellers. And the valuation question is something that every day our markets are really here to try to decide on. So for us, it's in many ways business as usual. And we really leave it to the market participants to try to make that decision and that valuation judgment.
Now, speaking of business as usual, come 2024, let's talk about some of the exciting things happening at the exchange. Anything on your... Oh, wait, we're getting a little preview of as we get ready to close out the U.S. equity markets. But, what should investors be looking out for come 2024?
Well, I think for 2024, you're going to see a few things. On one hand, there's going to be probably a fairly busy Q1 and Q2. I think as you look towards the back half of the year with the election cycle coming into play, there's going to be probably an expectation of a lot more volatility. And so a lot of issuers may try to avoid that part of the market. But the first half of the year, it's a very busy pipeline. A lot of issuers want to take advantage of that, and we think it's going to be a pretty busy activity.
Now, speaking of IPOs, obviously, Day Cook, they are listed with us. They're officially a part of the NYSE community of over 2,400 listed companies. What's the significance in today?
Well, I think on one hand, we have a company that is female-led, female-founded company. We also have a company that's also based from outside of the United States, which is kind of an exciting thing to see. And at the same time, it's another important data point in terms of the IPO market. Whether you're a big company or a small company, there's just a range of opportunities for issuers to come to the New York Stock Exchange and find a home.
And I want to talk about sort of our global reach, right? Especially as the head of global capital markets. Day Cook, they started in Hong Kong, and the majority of our international companies actually come from China.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you look at listings as a whole, more than a third of our companies are actually based from outside of the U.S. And China and Hong Kong, those are two of the largest areas in terms of our cross-border listings. And that continues to be the case. If you look at our pipeline of issuers, a large number of them are based from outside of the U.S. and quite a few of them are actually based in Asia.
And Cassandra Sire has been an integral role in leading up to this day. She is on your team. So, kudos to you guys.
Yeah, Cassandra's been a rock star. She is someone who leads our international capital markets business. She's a person who's also a Singapore native, so she understands deeply the culture and also spends a lot of time on the road. So we keep her very busy.
And speaking of busy, I know you have a lot to get to, so I will let you go. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Great talking to you.
Bye, Michael. All right, we're about 15 seconds out from closing out the market, so we're going to let this crowd just look at that. All right, we're going to listen into the bell now.
Together, we built something truly beautiful in the true iconic notion of what America is all about.
This is our task, this is our mission. We have a clear focus and we have the ability to be agile and innovate.
It takes years of dedication to get us to this milestone. It is all because of you.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. It is the only thing that ever has.
To be a woman leader, it's not so easy, but it's easy if the passion and the love is coming from your heart.
The New York Stock Exchange is the symbol of what America is all about. Potential of capitalism, the potential of an American dream.
The only way you can move a society forward is a true expression of freedom.